Hello and welcome back to my humble show. I am your host for tonight and every other night, the Articulate Thinker. Hopefully, here to bring you art articles and articulation straight from Articulation Station, so be sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. Don't forget to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it. If you like it, put a ring on it. Sharing is caring, all that other good stuff. But enough about me. Let's see, I'm going to be talking about John Fetterman and the changes to the dress code in the Senate. That's right. On behalf of John Fetterman, the dress code has been changed, and now he is able to continue to go to work every day dressed in the way that I am now. The difference is, of course, that he is a senator. He is in a much more powerful position than I am. And honestly, it is like 2 o'clock in the morning right now for me. So I'm just sitting here in my room, in my spare room, just recording a show. So yeah, big difference between me and him. Don't call me a hypocrite on this. But hey, it would be nice. It would be nice in that sort of position to be able to dress in that sort of way. But what can I say? I disagree with the dress code being changed on behalf of a rookie senator who doesn't really deserve to be in the position he's in the first place. As far as I'm concerned, he is very spoiled, very smug. In fact, he essentially rode into office on a silver spoon because of the way he was elected. Though, I get it. Dr. Oz Mehmet Oz wasn't the best choice on the other end of the political spectrum. But at the same time, it's hard to believe that anyone would vote for someone like John Fetterman, despite the fact that he was incapable of speaking or holding a conversation, lacking in cognitive capabilities, to say the least, and he still is. So I'm going to play some clips of him, more recent clips of him, and another reason why I don't feel all that bad for criticizing him, mocking him even, is because he is mocking other individuals who disagree with him, and who disagree with the change of the dress code. Well, he is mocking them. That's how much nerve he has. He has this sense of entitlement, and it is being affirmed by the likes of Chuckle Bucket Schumer. But we'll see who gets the last laugh on this. See who gets the last chuckle on this. My apologies if I am slow. I'll try to be slow and steady here. Slow and steady wins the race, as long as the fast-paced people are falling asleep along the way. But I'm afraid that tonight, I might be the one who ends up falling asleep because I am exhausted. I tried to record this show yesterday night, but it was nearly 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to call it quits because I just couldn't do it. Give it all he's got, Captain. If pushing any harder, the whole thing will blow. But I'm giving it another go tonight. This isn't even the second go I've given it. I gave it a go on my lunch break earlier in the day today, which is technically yesterday because it is now, like I said, 2 o'clock in the morning. I ran out of time on my lunch break too, so this is technically my third round. Yeah. Third time is the charm though, so I'm not going to do any harm. It's not going to do any harm to sound the alarm on this. It's old news at this point, but I'm going to break it down for you in case you haven't kept up with it. Here's a tweet, a post from Monica Crowley, who said, "The Senate will no longer enforce its dress code, all because John Fetterman, or John Fetterwoman, is a revolting slob." Would you go that far? I'd say that he is spoiled. He is smug. But is he a slob? I approve this message. I do. In this case, he is on pace to be a slob. Yes. So she adds, "This is a material debasement of a storied institution and an absolute reflection of America's steep decline. Maybe if there was a loosening, more lackadaisical loosening of the dress code on different terms and conditions, I would be a little bit more open-minded. But because it is on behalf of this one guy, seemingly, though others will pander and pretend that it's not on his behalf, and they'll maybe change the way they dress a little bit, so they'll seem like it's, it's unanimous decision. In other words, that's possible, but we'll see what happens. I suppose we'll see if he actually puts on some more proper clothes as time goes by. But so far, no good. Feel free to disagree with me on anything I may say. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you know. We're just getting started here. Here's an article. Goes right along with that post from Monica Crowley. This is from the Washington Examiner, written by Christopher Tremogli. Commentary writer. It's official. Democrats make everything worse. Okay, we know where you line up. It was a sentiment long felt by many in the country, but after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, or at least his recent decision to nix the Senate's dress code and, in turn, obliterate the regard, respect, and dignity of the office, Schumer and the Democrats erased any doubt about ushering in societal rot and the nation's decline. It's an embarrassment, and every Democratic politician should be ashamed, and that includes Senator John Fetterman, Democrat from Pennsylvania, who won thanks in part to the fact that not a lot of people liked Dr. Oz, Mehmet Oz, his Republican opponent, and I guess also because the demographics, Democrat demographics. If it's bloat, blue, yeah, vote blue, no matter who. This is what you're going to get in the end. Blow vu. Yeah. I think I'm losing my mind. But John Fetterman believed to be the impetus for Schumer's decision to eliminate the dress code. But the prestige of the Senate shouldn't be lowered because Fetterman is a slob. The people of Pennsylvania elected him, believing he could perform the duties necessary to be a senator. His health problems aside, none of that excuses his inability to put on a suit and tie for a job he was elected to do. Schumer and every other Democrat and left-winger are enabling Fetterman's laziness and slovenly behavior under the guise of compassion and understanding. They're affirming him, in other words. So he's had to use special technology just to communicate with people. He had to leave his post for a while to seek therapy. Yeah, because of certain mental illness. So they say. So he said. And I don't want to speculate over that too much or condemn him for that, because if people need to get help, they need to get help. But he needs multiple types of help. See, some people might look past his cognitive incapabilities. If he would put on a suit and tie and show up for work and do his job to the best of his ability, but he's acting silly. And he doesn't want to do either of those things. I mean, he can't do the one thing, the cognitively requiring thing, and he won't do the proper professional thing. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation with him. Very unprofessional, like I said. Fetterman first made waves at the Senate press conference in May, wearing shorts and a hoodie. The left tried to justify his actions by making flimsy excuses that he couldn't wear pants and a shirt because of his depression. It was nonsense then, and it is nonsense now. Fetterman can't wear a suit because he is an embarrassing slob, not because of any dilapidated health condition. And I guess that's another thing that makes me slightly less reluctant to go as far as calling him a slob because of the way he has gone about his business, essentially mocking the business and his colleagues and the process. It's like he doesn't respect the process at all. But who does? I'm not pretending that the politicians generally have super duper high standards or anything like that, but they're not going to work dressed like me, and I don't think they should start today just because this one guy either is, or at least claims to be, depressed on occasion. In which case, he needs an attitude check. Democrats lower standards and decimate the integrity and honor of everything they get involved in. Whether it is eliminating grades, academic standards, criminal codes, laws, or even dress codes, Democrats' answer to everything is to make everything inferior. They should be known as regressives instead of progressives because they move the country backward in achievement and quality. Nothing improves when Democrats are in power. It is why the cities under Democratic control feature rampant crime and poverty, and why the schools they control have students who cannot achieve basic math, science, or English proficiency. Fetterman and Schumer are a microcosm of the scourge that is left-wing politics in the United States. They are the catalyst for much of the country's social or societal ills and a political plague that causes decay at every level. So, yeah. Christopher Tremogli is clearly biased. I'm okay with that, but sometimes I prefer a more left-leaning article simply because I'm a bit of a contrarian and I like to disagree with things. Yeah, and you can feel free to disagree with me if I haven't already said so. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you know. If I'm missing anything, fill me in. Here's a compilation I put together a few days ago. Starts with a clip of John Fetterman mocking Kevin McCarthy's impeachment inquiry initiation announcement. And it proceeds with a compilation of clips of John Fetterman making a fool of himself, essentially. This edit is on my Articulate Thinker News Clips channel, but I'm going to play it for you here.
Today, I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
Ask you about this news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it, please.
See what I mean? That is the attitude of someone who is spoiled and smug and spoiled, and even a bit of a slob. Or maybe just a snob. Either way, even if it's all the above, you're not going to get much love from me, dude. When you're acting that rude. Okay, now I'm just rhyming for the time of it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh no, oh no.
So we're going to run back to the office, but
My name is John Fetterwoman.
So now not only is he a man-child, he is a woman-child.
The difference between them is one of them wears a $5,000 suit, but they're just as dangerous, and we need to make sure what is on the line in this race.
I get that sometimes when people struggle with depression, it's because of insecurities, and someone like him with the conditions which he has might have an awful lot of insecurities. He might have to overcompensate in a certain sense. might have to become a little bit cocky in a certain sense. So maybe that's where some of this comes from, but I think he has always been this way. He hasn't been the brightest. He hasn't been the sharpest tool in the tool shed that is Washington, D.C. But you would think he would have some decency, and he would appreciate the position he's in, considering the situation he's in. But he doesn't have any situational awareness, I guess.
I'm doing fantastic, and it's not about kicking balls in the authority or anything. Eliminate the filibuster. Yeah! Get things done.
Kicking balls in the authority, getting things done.
Send us back to New Jersey.
Incorrect.
Send
Someone actually laughed at him in the crowd. Yes, they said.
me to D.C. for you. And I'm sitting within a chair with you right now to have this conversation, to really just address the fact that I'm absolutely set to serve.
You're set to serve. Noted. One more time.
The fact that I'm absolutely set to serve.
That's true shaman of pressure 2.0. Doing it like Joe.
I just am really just about just saying that I just want to make sure that we use your enormous power to just make sure that we don't have the kind of platform where we push those kinds of theories. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to just say that given that we have this opportunity, just using the platform to really be about a force of good. Send me to Washington, D.C. Take on to make sure I push back against work to work.
And by the way, Don Lemon is no longer on CNN. He was fired. Good for him.
I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
So he had a special closed captioning system set up for him overhead. He was reading. That's why there was a bit of a lag there, but still, even with the words, the question on the screen for him, he still stumbled over the answer, or lack thereof. But that's because he has something in common with Biden. He both doesn't support fracking and also supports fracking. That's right. Like Joe Biden, he had previously said, no, I don't support fracking. I don't support oil. I don't support this. I don't support that. And then when asked further questions about it, he would say, as you just heard, he does in fact support such things. Joe Biden did the same thing. He said the same thing. He said that he was going to do away with all fracking. Fossil fuels, all of it. It's got to go. And then he tried to walk it back. He didn't just try to walk it back. He tried to claim that he had never said those things that he had said earlier. So these two men have a lot of things in common. I'm not talking about Oz and Fetterman. I'm talking about Biden and Fetterman. So maybe that's why John Fetterman laughs and mocks the thought of an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, because he knows that he's just as much of a fraud. And I'll say that somewhat hypothetically, somewhat metaphorically, in the sense where this man is not, in fact, sit to serve and yet he pretends that he is.
Has the Biden administration overspent? And if so, where do you think spending should be cut? You have 60 seconds.
No, here's what I think we have to fight about inflation here right now. That's what we need to fight about inflation. Right now because it's a tax on working families.
Why don't you fight your president?
Well, I think you look and sound great. So last week, let me ask you this. You and Dr. Oz faced off in your first televised debate, and you said, quote, it wasn't exactly easy. I think it was an incredibly courageous and brave thing for you to show what healing from a stroke looks like.
Healing? He has not healed. They led us to believe that not only would he heal, but he would be healed by now. They were not transparent on doctor's notes or anything of that nature. And so it's all one big surprise. Surprise, surprise, surprise. But if you're in the vote blue no matter who bandwagon, you're okay with that.
That's incredibly brave. On the other hand, Dr. Oz, a cardiac surgeon, in my view, came off as a bully.
That's a laugh. If we're telling jokes here, that's a laugh. Yeah. Sunny Hostin, she never passes up an opportunity to say seemingly racist things about black conservative men. Which leads me to believe that if John Fetterman were a black conservative instead of a white liberal, she would be saying the exact opposite about him. She would not be calling him brave and courageous and yada 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 bing bang boom. She would be scolding him just for being in the room. That's what she would be doing. So I can't take her seriously either. She's another fraud as far as I'm concerned. And I say hypothetically, metaphorically, but it's quite literal. They are. They are very disingenuous people these days. But yeah, as you saw in the headline here, Fetterman wins Pennsylvania Senate race as Democrats notch key win. And it was a key win for them. And now we're stuck with the likes of him and the likes of Joe Biden. What else do I have here? More clips for you. We're gonna catch up and keep up. Work on our way towards the theme of the show, the dress code. John Fetterman is legitimately losing his mind. How can you legitimately lose your mind? Can you legitimately lose your mind? I don't think so. So apparently, Joey Manorino is losing his mind because he thinks someone can legitimately lose your mind. There's nothing legitimate about losing your mind. I think I've lost my mind, actually. He's now wearing a mask of Senator Bob Casey. Question mark. Does someone swap out his depression pills for crack? Maybe he found the cocaine stash that was in the White House. That's a possibility. Maybe it came from him in the first place. Let me play this clip. Another clip of him mocking the impeachment inquiry.
You basically dared House Republicans to launch this impeachment inquiry. Now they have.
Yeah.
Do you regret it?
No, please don't do it. It's just like those dangerous men over there, the cheap thrills and everything. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just like if they got to do it, they got to do it.
Those dangerous man over there. Why not skip the daring and go for the truth? Give that a try, why don't you?
Are you confident?
It's a political loser.
Are you confident? You basically.
The man-child knows no bounds, knows no boundaries. This from the Columbia Bugle. Convinced they just sent Fetterman and Kamala out to make Biden look good. Convinced they just sent Fetterman and Kamala out to make Biden look good. What the flip? is this dude even saying?
My message to the CEOs is, at $74 million, collectively earning that, how many yachts can they need, to water ski behind it? It's just crazy. I don't. My message to the CEOs is, at $74 million, collectively earning that, how many yachts can they need, to water ski behind it?
I feel bad for the guy in a sense, except for the fact that he is choosing to be there and to make those statements. If he wants to push through, good for you, dude. But yeah, what the flip is this dude even saying? That's the problem. When the primary role of your job is communicating and you're incapable of doing that, you've lost the script. Not that I'm for politicians sticking to the script as much as they do generally, but you've completely lost the script to the point where no one knows what in the world you're saying. So here's a headline from Fox News. Dress to impress. People are furious after the Senate dropped its dress code requirement. And they're saying there is only one lawmaker to blame. Why the bar is being lowered. So, you know what John Fetterman did? He reposted that article from Fox News. And he said, I figure if I take up vaping and grabbing the hog during a live musical, they'll make me a folk hero. Of course, there he is taking a shot at Lauren Boebert because he is all about those whataboutisms. That's what this is. Deflecting. And when he is called out for his nonsense, he just calls someone else out for their nonsense. As though he is not himself full of nonsense. Typical politician, politicking. So I'm not going to act surprised by that. But I've done my fair share of calling out Lauren Boebert, so I've kept that same energy on my part. As for John Fetterman, dude, look in the mirror. Do you not realize how you look? Do you not realize how you sound? Is it not at least a little bit profound? Democrat John Fetterman, Senator John Fetterman, responds to concerns over changing the Senate dress code to accommodate his hoodies and gym shorts. Yeah, so he's responding to MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene here. And I'll just play the clip. You can hear it for yourself.
What do you say to that?
Well, her platform, really, she runs on more and more dingling, picks, on in the meetings over in Congress.
How do you just use the term dinglings in an interview on MSNBC? And they let you get away with it and pretend that it's normal. That's how affirming they are. They don't push back at all. If this guy was a Republican, if this dude was a Republican, they'd roast him, if not to his face, as soon as he left. But because he is a liberal, a Democrat, they're going to sit back and pretend that he has said something thoughtful, thought-provoking even.
So, again, I'm not really sure why she cares how I dress. But, she really takes it a different way.
What do you say to that?
And by the way, I don't care about Marjorie Taylor Greene either. I'm sorry, I can't hardly speak anymore. I'm falling asleep. Certainly, as I speak. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene here, a post from her. The Senate no longer enforcing a dress code for senators to appease Fetterman is disgraceful. Dress code is one of society's standards that set etiquette and respect for our institutions. Stop lowering the bar. I'd say that she lowered the bar a bit herself. in all honesty. But here's the thing. If someone who is a joke is able to make legitimate jokes about you, then that's probably because you're even more of a joke. So if she lowered the bar, John Fetterman lowered the bar even more. And that's how I'll underscore that dialogue. But let me play the rest of this one more time, just to hear him use the term dingling.
What do you say to that?
Well, her platform, really, she runs on more and more dingling, pics,
Yeah, dingling pics. So I think he means to say dingling pictures, if you know what he means. But I don't know what that has to do with anything. Are there accusations that she is sending or receiving dingling pics? Don't know why she would be sending them if she doesn't have a dingling. But I'm not so sure about her. Someone says this is not Fetterman. Look at the ears. Yeah, a lot of these speculations going around. But I'm not going to get conspiratorial here. I don't necessarily buy any of the stunt double talks. But you can talk about it if you want. All right. From catch up here. Speaking of catching up, John Fetterman is at it again. Can anyone make out what he's talking about? This is a clip from the same interview.
How things have operated since that deal was a bipartisan deal was struck for certain top-line spending numbers for all of the funding bills that have to be passed to make the budget, keep the government running. The Senate has basically been delivering those and passing them by big 91-7 bipartisan majorities. The House today looks like it's falling apart. You've already got 17 no votes in that House Republican caucus saying we're not passing anything. What do you think's happening here?
Yeah, I was very proud of my colleagues, because they're really about governance. That's what it is. And on the other, the House, the whatever they call themselves, Team America or whatever they call themselves, I just like, hey.
Wait, what? Team America? Are you saying that because you don't even remember which committee you're talking about?
I just like, bring your vote, otherwise, they need to go hump a different leg.
Hump a different leg? So he's giving us bars like dingling and hump a leg. Hump a different leg.
You were in, you drove your, I think it's a Ford from Braddock, how things have operated since that deal.
Okay, I don't need to play that one again. You get his drift. Well, actually, you probably don't because it's not really gettable. If you get it, give it to me. Let me know in the comments below what in the world he's talking about. It's gibberish. Alright, so Matt Gaetz was having fun with this whole dress code controversy. He was mocking John Fetterman just a little bit. And I'm not a fan of Matt Gaetz either. He's another one of those, the squad of the right, so to speak. Though they get along a little bit less than the squad of the left. I'm talking about the likes of Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. They're always causing a stir, always causing some controversy, some drama. I'm not going to play this clip. It is 3 minutes long, approximately. But, yeah, he tweets it out. He's on Steve Bannon's show, and he tweets this clip out with this caption. He says, "The evidence against Joe Biden is overwhelming. A first-year law student could win this case for impeachment before a fair jury. Unfortunately, the United States Senate isn't a fair jury. It's full of fashion icons like John Fetterman. While the Senate will be a platform, or the platform, the American people will ultimately be the jury when we put that case before them." And then it'll most likely fail because Democrats have the majority in the Senate, and not a one of them cares. Well, Joe Manchin might. Kirsten Sinema might. Other than that, I'm not sure. if any of them care one iota if Joe Biden is straight up corrupt. But yeah, he calls John Fetterman a fashion icon, and John Fetterman reposts the post and says, "Government shutdown in T-minus 16 days. Instead of crying about how I dress, how about you get your bleep together and do your job, bud?" Shots fired back. Okay, you guys can have at it. I don't really care. But not the most appropriate way to talk from your senator account. Get your bleep together and do your job, bud, he says. Matt Gaetz was kind of asking for that, though. So here's a random tweet from Simon Atiba, White House reporter. Senator John Fetterman arrives in the Senate chamber dressed casually since the dress code was relaxed to accommodate him. Photo. And there you see him, towering above the rest. Though not psychologically. Psychologically, he is very simple-minded. Very small. Forget the photo. I have a clip here for you. Senator John Fetterman is free to wear a hoodie after the Senate informally changed the dress code. Well, it is now informal. It's an informal dress code. It has quietly been ditched by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. My apologies. Hold on a second. I gotta regroup. Senator John Fetterman is free to wear a hoodie after the Senate's informal dress code has been quietly ditched by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Senators now have the thumbs up to wear whatever they want on the floor, several outlets detailed Monday. It is now nearing 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to try to speed this up a bit. So much for slow and steady wins the race.
Fetterman got out of the vehicle that pulled up right in front of the Capitol mid-afternoon as the Senate...
Sorry if this is lagging a bit. It's lagging on my end. It's probably lagging on your end as well.
Afternoon as the Senate returned from recess. He was wearing his familiar hoodie and gym shorts.
And that's exactly what's wrong in Washington. We're playing with the livelihoods of millions just so the GOP can just turn the screws against hungry Americans. He showed up with just hours after that bridge collapsed there. And he promised to make sure that any resources that they needed and any help and support. And guess what? That bridge was rebuilt less than a year.
You see the way Joe Biden is looking at John Fetterman? Just like gazing into his eyes. A man who is lesser than me. Oh, surprise, surprise. By the way, he says that Joe Biden showed up just after the bridge collapsed. Joe Biden has claimed on certain occasions that he saw the bridge collapse, which is a lie. But Joe Biden lies about pretty much everything these days.
That bridge was rebuilt less than a year, well in front of time.
Thanks, Breitbart. What a work of art. Oh, man. Kyle Becker said, I don't know what is more disturbing in this video, that the senator is a slob who talks about humping legs, or that the guy who is talking on air looks nothing like John Fetterman. You can decide that for yourself. Some of it has to do with angles. You've already seen this clip. The one of him talking about humping legs. But that's his Mario mustache looking face. And a lot of people are comparing it with other photos of him and saying that the photos are of different men, that he has stunt doubles. Not that he's doing many stunts, except publicity stunts, but that he has body doubles. I don't really buy into that. I think facial expressions and angles and lighting and sure, some photoshopping can change a lot of things. Or at least change a lot of appearances. You decide for yourself, though. Let's see what Greg Gutfeld has to say about it.
Major trust and confidence issues in the institutions, right? And the Democrats and Republicans say this is a major problem. And here you have somebody who is part of the conversation to spend millions of our taxpayer dollars on things, and he gets to wear gym clothes to work.
Well, when asked if he was happy about the change, Fetterman blinked twice for yes. But Fetterman, come on, even Frankenstein wore a suit jacket.
Even Fetterman. Frankenstein Fetterman. I don't know why the audio was out of sync there. Let me play this one more time just to see if that's
clothes to work.
Well, when
fixable.
asked if he was happy about the change, Fetterman blinked twice for yes. But Fetterman, come on, even Frankenstein wore a suit jacket.
Well, maybe he should slap on a jacket and change his name to John Frankenstein. Or he could just go with Frankenstein Fetterman. Here's what Governor Ron DeSantis had to say about it.
Oh my gosh. So did you guys hear the U.S. Senate just eliminated its dress code?
And if you're wearing headphones right now, your audio is going to be one-sided. At least it is for me. Very annoying when that happens. If I'm turning something into an edit, I use some software in which I can rebalance the audio and switch it from one side to two-sided. But I can't do that in the spur of the moment on this show, so it's a pet peeve of mine. I don't know why there are so many news clips that are just one-sided.
Because you got this guy from Pennsylvania who's got a lot of problems. I mean, let's just be honest, like how he got elected. Well, I mean, he got elected because they didn't want the alternative, but he wears like sweatshirts and hoodies and shorts, and that's his thing. So he would campaign in that, which is your prerogative, right? I mean, if that's what you want to do. But to show up in the United States Senate with that and not have the decency to put on proper attire, I think it's disrespectful to the body. And I think the fact that the Senate changed the rules to accommodate that, I think speaks very poorly to how they consider that. Look, we need this country, we need to be lifting up our standards in this country, not dumbing down our standards in this country. And this is an example why.
Well said, Governor and potentially, hopefully, President DeSantis. Come at me, bro. A lot of you probably prefer Trump over DeSantis. Make your case. He has a lot of cases against him, even though he has many cases for him. Looks like more lawmakers could soon be dressing like Fetterman. See the more casual guidance. And I'm not going to click that link. I do have some articles pulled up here, though. I don't have time to go through all of them. This is from Fox News. Senate to no longer enforce dress code for senators. I will continue to wear a suit, Senator Chuck Schumer says of the change. I think most of them probably will continue to wear suits. But that's not the point. The point is that he should be wearing a suit as well. It's the least he can do. Comes along with the territory. The U.S. Senate will no longer enforce a dress code for members of the upper house elected by those they serve. Let me enlarge the text a bit. However, others entering the chamber must comply with the dress code. Coats, ties for men, business attire for women, tweeted Chad Pergram, Fox News senior congressional correspondent. So the members of the upper house no longer have to wear the suit and tie. Others entering the chamber must comply, though. So I wonder how many senators are included in this new standard, or lack thereof. Senator Chuck Schumer, majority leader, quietly sent a directive to the Senate's Sergeant-at-Arms news website Axios reported. The change allows Senator John Fetterman to continue to wear his trademark hooded sweatshirts and gym shorts while working for Americans. Gym shorts, that is. Fetterman was previously praised for turning heads and redefining fashion in a stuffy Senate during his recovery after a 6-week stay at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where he was treated for clinical depression and fitted for hearing aids for hearing loss that had made it harder for him to communicate, according to an AP story from May. Maybe he didn't want to hear what people had to say. I never did talk about Mitt Romney announcing that he wasn't going to run for re-election. Good for him. The senator even found a workaround to the legislative body's dress code rules by voting from the doorway of the Democrat cloakroom or the side entrance, making sure his vote is recorded before ducking out, per the AP report. Sneaky little devil, him. He's setting a new dress code. Democrat Vermont Senator Peter Welch joked to AP in May. Democrat Vermont Senator? I think they worded that incorrectly. He was struggling, and now he's a joyful person to be around. Unless you're a Republican, of course. Fetterman faced some backlash against his casual dress code, even from his own staff, according to the AP, who had originally asked him to always wear suits and ties, which he famously hates. Senators are able to choose what they wear on the Senate floor. I will continue to wear a suit, Schumer said in a statement to Axios. The news website added that Senate officials said the updated rule will go into effect this week. Almost 50 minutes in, and I'm nearing the end. Lost my mind long ago. But I wanted to go over everything I possibly could. And I haven't even gotten to this yet. This is probably the most humorous portion of this story. Susan Collins. Susan Collins jokes she'll wear a bikini in protest the Fetterman rule. There's no dress code anymore, she said. And there is a clip of it, but I couldn't find it on X, so I just have this article pulled up. And I'm having some issues with lagging now. My browser isn't wanting to scroll. I'm just frozen with fear here. Senator Susan Collins joked that she will don a bathing suit for Senate voting while roasting the recent loosening of the chamber's dress code in deference to Senator John Fetterman. I plan to wear a bikini tomorrow to the Senate floor, and Chris Coons is going to wear shorts because there's no dress code anymore. Collins, 70, quipped to reporters Monday, referring to her Democratic colleague from Delaware. Obviously, I'm not going to wear a bikini, she then clarified, but the fact is, as I understand it, I could. Collins was voicing her disdain for the more lax dress requirements for senators announced on Sunday, which she decried as a move that debases the institution. I think there is certain dignity that we should be maintaining in the Senate. And to do away with the dress code, to me, debases the institution, she added, per the Washington Examiner. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer confirmed the change Sunday, which has been dubbed the Fetterman rule by critics. Schumer noted that he personally will stick to the classic suit and tie previously required of male senators and still required for staffers. So the staffers, but not some of the senators. Or is it all of the senators? That part I'm not fully understanding. As a result, Fetterman will no longer have to shout "ay" or "nay" from the doorway of the chamber. Instead, he can wear his signature baggy tee or hoodies and giant shorts and the Senate floor in full view of the clerk and C-SPAN cameras. That's just a bad look. I guess the suit and tie were cramping his style. Sorry, bud. Didn't even compromise. They just gave it to him. Gave him what he wanted. Fetterman had almost entirely abandoned any efforts to adhere to the dress code after he was released from the local hospital following a battle with clinical depression earlier this year. If the advice is that you're only going to be okay, you're only going to recover from your depression if you can wear baggy clothing to work, it just seems like a short-term solution. I think he had bigger problems. Republicans dogpiled on Fetterman over the change, prompting him to go into full troll mode on social media. I figure if I take up vaping and grabbing the hog during a live musical, they'll make me a folk hero, Fetterman posted Tuesday morning on X, formerly Twitter, referring once again to Lauren Boebert, who I've talked about extensively in previous shows. His dig at Representative Lauren Boebert's groping escapade earlier this month at a Beetlejuice performance was posted from his official Senate account, as were many of his other retorts. Not all Republicans ripped the decision. Collins' fellow moderate Lisa Murkowski appeared fine with it. Maybe she's actually going to wear a bikini. I'm not so hung up on things to think that every single day a man needs to wear a necktie. If I had my way, we would have summer casual for men, so we didn't have the air conditioning so low and spend so much money keeping this place cold, Murkowski told reporters. Fetterman has been known to break out the snappy business suit on occasion, such as when he was sworn into the upper chamber earlier this year. And that's fair. I mean, personally, if I was in that position, I might want to change. A change of scenery. A change of clothing. But it shouldn't be a change that's made on behalf of one particular person who happens to be spoiled and smug and also a snob at this point. The Pennsylvania senator has sought to exclude a blue-collar working-class vibe, or exude, not exclude, exude a blue-collar working-class vibe. Despite his privileged background, other members of the Senate have sported casual clothes around the Capitol in the past, most notably while hustling to votes from the building's gym. I had one more article pull up, but I think I'm going to skip it. It's another Washington Examiner article. Schumer chooses decline for Senate decorum. Yeah, I'm gonna skip right past that. I'm done clicking around and finding out. I have no energy left at all. I'd keep that same energy, but I have no energy left to keep. So keep on keeping on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Keep in touch, keep in tune. New content is coming soon. Hopefully. Peace. And my apologies for being... Well, you tell me.